Hello and welcome to another video. So we're going to be covering the NGE decks at the moment. We're mainly just going to do the first place care package, which is a part of Shadow Nexus and had some help with these decks from other members of Shadow Nexus. I will have the link to the source for this deck in the description below, which will be a Game Press link. So care package did surprisingly well. He came first, obviously, in the first NGE Season 2 games, I believe. And to my knowledge, that is pretty great, honestly. I'm very proud of CarePackage as a fellow Shadow Nexus member, and I hope that he does well in the Invitational later this year. So, other than that, we'll get right into the deck. So, he took a pretty standard neutral blood deck. Without the Abyss combo though, he mainly seems to be aiming for the Phantom Cat Hector and the Gruff Mountaineer as his big sources of extra damage. Phantom Cat being a really good one for 4 and for the draw, and the Hector combo to go with Phantom Cat if you do pull that off. Drawing into a Hector and any other neutral, and then Hector's ability obviously being proccable if you have 3 neutrals, is a really nice combo. So we'll get right into some games here, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So the first matchup I've got here is against Rune, keeping things interesting and fresh. This is basically a one of two video, so we will be covering his Shadow deck in tomorrow's video, and I wanted to make sure these were done just before the nerfs so that we could cover the NGE decks from last weekend. These videos will be going up Saturday and Sunday, so the next NGE decks should be going up sooner than that due to the nerfs hopefully being active by then. So we start out with a pretty godlike hand going into the 1 Goblin, the Tove, and then we have Angelic Word as a nice 3-drop follow-up. Unfortunately, the Glow does return the Tove, making it a lot worse of a play, meaning I need to be able to pull Ward. So we go with the Angelic just for that 1 damage and to fill out our 3-drop curve, because Tove works well with Lyriel, so we can use that later. Drawing into the Gruff Mountaineer, a really solid card, one that was pretty underrated at the start of the expansion, but is now, people are really starting to see its potential in tournaments as a really big threat to walls. Of course, Levi coming out to ruin my day. It's always the way when I'm playing against Rune. Lucky though, not too bad. We do have our Big Knuckle Bodyguard draw that's just great for dealing with threats like this. And we can quite easily throw out an evolve point here just to put them down to 8, making them a lot closer to range. As you'll see though, unfortunately I don't get very lucky and I have to kind of hold out most of the game, which is a pain. So that's a real difficult card to deal with when you have nothing in hand to deal with it, unfortunately. The trade, leaving it on 4 health, means that even our Tove can't compete with it, and I don't want to have to waste this evolve point in any kind of major way. So I believe I decided to just go for Wonderland. Unfortunately, I do decide I have to use the evolve. I thought, you know, I could have used Gruff Mountaineer, but then I would be in a really tight spot with its stats, and I didn't want to be in that little bubble of a spot. So we only need to pull off this 8 damage, and with what we have in hand, it's pretty unlikely currently. And unfortunately, we see the second mage making things more difficult, just leaving us in the exact same spot we were the turn before. This time, the Gruff Mountaineer has to be the play. I gotta get rid of this. With no evolves, it doesn't matter whether I play Lyriel or Actress, they're both just neutral 2/2s. But Lyriel fortunately did get its boost, so making it a 4/4 was a lot nicer. So the lucky part is they do Bahamut here with the Sacrifill just getting rid of the Muff Mountaineer, sorry. So we do get 4 damage to the face, putting them within Grimnir range, so then it's just a matter of holding out game long enough. Unfortunately, I did slightly misplay there. I didn't really want to play the Hector, but I played it anyway by accident. But it was too late by then. If I had saved it, I could have put them in a really nice spot in the next turn and been out of range of any decent healing. Fortunately though, everything does tend to work out and we've only got to hold the single turn. So we throw the Lyriel just because it doesn't really matter. No real big deal to throw that out there. And we see the Whirlwind Ginger. They get like crazy plays. Double Gilgamesh, Bahamut, bloody, you name it, they got it. Luckily, due to losing abilities, Bahamut doesn't destroy their board, which is a pretty cool thing for Ginger. Fortunate for us, they weren't able to trade the Ginger in any way, meaning they weren't able to storm my face down for some crazy damage, and turn 10 Grimnir is lethal, so not too difficult. So my second game is against a Shadow deck. Nothing too special. We do go first, again a good spot to be in, going first is amazing. A mediocre hand, a hand that I was worth keeping against Shadow, in my opinion. Unfortunately we don't have a 2-drop, but because the deck is so heavy on 2-drops, drawing one shouldn't be a big issue. Plus the Angel Word and the Alice are actually really nice cards, and I really wanted to turn 1, so... Luckily we do draw into a 2-drop, which fills out our curve pretty much perfectly. The only better play would have been a Goblin turn 1 over a Merman, but Merman doing his job as our drop, and doing even better with this trade here. So we start off with a very solid hand. Can't go too wrong with it. The Lurching Corpse, no real big threat. Not at this turn anyway. So we can burst down 7 damage. Well, sorry, 6 damage. I forgot Tove doesn't gain the Alice bonus. Plus boosting the 2 cards in our hand, which is good when you have a Goblin leader, and Gruff Mountaineer is just an amazing card for this deck. Fortunately, that does do a full board clear. The lucky part though, with its 5 attack stat, the Gruff Mountaineer does get its ability, meaning it does not take any damage from battle with something with 5 or more attack. So we're pretty set with what we've got here. The Big Knuckle deals with any smaller threats. The Goblin is just really solid, and Tove is really solid, so that's not going to hurt. Unfortunately this Yerd though does deal with that Gruff Mountaineer pretty well. But the Big Knuckle is a solid play, getting rid of it, you know, just killing it off. Unfortunately we don't have anything to proc the Skeetor at this point, and I kind of hold it hoping we do get one, because I would like to proc its abilities. So they go for the Zombie Party. I believe it's, yeah, Zombie Party, so nothing special. They didn't have enough shadows, which is a bonus for me. Luckily we get the buff met, which allows us to draw into a Blood Follower, Phantom Cat. I do hold on to the Skeeter, just hoping for some kind of proc in the next turn. Unfortunately I don't believe it comes, but I was just trying to hold that out. If I had have played it, I could have used the Tove as a 3 damage push, which probably would have been better than letting it just go to waste though. So maybe a minor misplay there. Just hoping to get more value than I probably should have. The Phantom Cats though, we have 2 of them, so we don't need to play both in this regard, and this turn I decide that Skeeter just isn't that necessary, and we may as well just play it out since we don't make the same mistake as last time. Luckily though, this Phantom Cat here, if we can proc at least a little bit of damage, 4 would be optimal. We have a good chance at pulling back, especially since we can use other cards with it. So our double draw, we know we got at least 1 neutral, luckily we got 2 and double Hector. So we're trying to set up for a 2-turn lethal here. Being able to play Hector in the next turn as well, and killing them off in that turn. We just need to play it, that's it. We have all the neutrals in our hand, we have the Hector, that's all we should need. So as long as they don't heal out of range, this would be our game. And fortunately, we don't see any healing. And Shadow doesn't tend to run healing anyway, so it's not really a big issue. And that is how you win game 2. Alright, our third and final matchup is against Dragon. As always, seeing a little bit of dragon more and more. I still don't think it is that powerful at this point, but we never know where the meta will take us once nerfs are applied. So we start off with a pretty average hand. The Big Knuckles, the only real weakness to this hand. The Tove is good. The Skeeter can combo nicely with the Tove if I need it. I would have liked a turn 1 play. Unfortunately, no turn 1 play. But that 3-drop is better than playing the Skeeter on turn 3, so why not? And Goblin Leader being an even nicer play. I do overcommit in this game though, which is a little bit of a problem, but it ends up paying off, so it ends up okay. Alright, so Goblin giving us that 3 damage Tove, just an amazing card. Pretty broken, honestly. I can't wait to really see it change in some regard, whether the neutral package is hit and Tove just doesn't become as good, or whether Tove itself is hit directly. We just really need to wait and see, I guess. Which by this point I'm hoping we have some kind of notes about what will be hit. By the time this video goes out, I am making, like I said, these videos pretty well in advance. At least 4 days, I think, I'm ahead at this point, so doing pretty well. Alright, we have a Sybil. The 6/7 Beast. Alright, Sybil's always such a tank. It's usually the healing that I have a bigger problem with, and luckily Sybil's healing isn't going to go off. And the Hector is really good. I do decide to leave this Sybil up. I account for the 3 health. I try and account for a Salamander by having 2 4 health followers on board. Unfortunately though, a second Sybil does kind of screw me over a little bit, slowing down my victory. I probably should have just traded the Sybil straight away, but then we would have had to have dealt with a second Sybil anyway, so really we would have been in a similar but a little bit worse spot right now. So the Bahamut draw, really solid. It creates a good trade with the Sybil with the Evolve. Luckily Evolves aren't that big a factor in this. You're mainly using them for damage or trades if need be, I guess, in situations like this. Like I said, I'm not the creator of the deck obviously, and CarePackage and other guys all work together to build these decks, I believe, so I don't have the exact idea on how it works, but I do have a rough idea, as I do like to main Blood fairly regularly. So the Phantom Cat is a potential 4 damage, the Hector is a potential 3 damage, and that is lethal if they don't heal out of range any more than they already have. So all we need is this Phantom Cat draw to be half decent in the next couple turns, but instead the Hector being played first, just so I can combo it with the Skeeter as a bit more potential. If I hadn't have drawn that Goblin, Phantom Cat would have been the play there. But luckily we didn't need to. They do aim for more draws. And the Blazing Breath being a lethal card to Skeeter, unfortunately. His abs just weren't hard enough. So we're aiming Phantom Cat luck. And of course, Phantom Cat always hitting those double neutrals for 4 damage. Finishes off our games. Alright, and that rounds out the NGE first place CarePackage Blood deck. So there's not much more to say for that. It's quite enjoyable. I'm sure with the nerfs it will change slightly, assuming Alice and other neutral package things are hit. If only Spawn and maybe other couple little things are hit, maybe this deck could still work out in the same sort of fashion. We just have to wait and see how things go. So if you guys enjoyed the video, if you did, hit that like button and subscribe. The deck list will be in the description below. Tomorrow's video will be the second deck, which is a Shadow deck, I believe. And we'll go into that. So I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.